Okay, you look up to the top of the building at an angle of 33 degrees. So there's a building and you look up and it's 33 degrees. Okay. And then it says you walk 12 meters back. So you walk 12 meters back and then you look up again and it's 29 degrees. Your eye's angling upward. That's an angle of elevation. Okay, can you find any of these angles? Nothing crazy, just looking at this, can you get another angle? What'd you say? 90, yeah, I know that one. But what are some other angles here? What can I get? What's the next angle I can get by just looking at it? Can you figure out this angle right here? How do you do that? 180, yeah. Those two would make 180 together. Yep. So I got a 147 on that one. And then what do you know about inside a triangle? There's 180 in a triangle, right? So I could do this triangle. There's a 147, a 29, and a, how much on the top? 4. And if I wanted to, I could do this triangle, 90, 33, and 57. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to think of with this problem is just label all the angles I possibly can. Now, what do we do for a strategy? So we want to get the height of the building. When I start trig strategies, I ask myself these 3 things. Do I have any side angle pairs? Do I have SAS? Or do I have triple S? Do you see any pairs? SAS, triple S. No, I need to know 3 sides for triple S. Anybody see any of those 3 strategies? Pair. There's a pair. So sine law. That's our strategy we're going to go with. As soon as you see a pair across from each other, we know the angle across from the side 12. That's a pair. Okay. Does that pair line up with the building pair? Can I do those 2 pairs together? This pair and this pair, can I connect them together? No. Why not? This and this they're in different triangles. You can't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this side Y, something else. Okay, so my setup is 12 over sine 4 equals Y over sine 29. Do we remember how to type this in our calculator? We're going to times and divide. Remember doing that? And I better double check. My calculator says degrees on my exam. I'll try to remind you just to double check your calculator setting. Okay, I got an 83.40 if anybody else matched that. Okay, Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to forget about that triangle I just used. So drop that triangle. Now what do you see in this one? I see a pair. Okay? So, do you understand that x here is with the 33? You got to keep it inside the same triangle. You can't mix match triangles, right? So we have 83.40 is across from sine 90. And the side x is across from the 33. Same calculator stuff, times and divide. So on your exam, I would expect to go 2 decimal places for your answers. Unless it's an angle, we'll just do 1. Okay, you are on the westerly shore of a body of water. So there's the lake or whatever. You're somewhere over there. You are 600 meters from the north. You are 450 meters from the south. You know that from where you are, the angle between the north and the south is 78 degrees. What is the distance between the north and the south? Okay, pairs, SAS, triple S. Those are always your 3 questions. SAS, side, angle, side. So that means we're going to use cosine law. So all these formulas are on your formula sheet. So x squared equals the 600 squared plus the 450 squared minus 2, 600, 450, cos 78. Okay, so that would be a formula to follow through your formula sheet. Okay, I'm going to type this all at once in my calculator. And then when I'm done, I'm going to go square root the answer because that is x squared and I don't want that. So all in one long step. Okay, number 3, solve for x. So, pairs, SAS, triple S. That's the first thing you're trying to look for all the time. So I have a pair. So sine law. As soon as I have pair, it's the sine law. Okay, this is not really good because if I pair x up, there's nothing to pair it with, so that doesn't really work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pair 20 up with, I'm going to call it y. Now can you look ahead to what I'm going to do? Once I get y, what do you think I'm going to do? A whole triangle will make 180, and then I can figure out x. Okay, so it looks like this. 21 over sine 81. That's that pair. equals 20 over sine y. So I'm going to times, and then I'm going to divide. What's the very last step in your calculator when you're trying to get an angle as an answer? Do you remember that? It's the inverse. So times, divide, and then inverse the answer. That's what you're going to do. So now we can figure out x. We are going to do 180 minus the other angles. Okay, sometimes I give you one of these that makes you do the sine law twice. If I wanted to get side x, you would have to do sine law again. Okay, so there might be one of those questions on your exam. So if you're doing sine law twice in a question, don't think it's wrong. There's sometimes that you have to do that. Find the smallest side. How do I know which, find the smallest angle. How do I know which one is going to be the smallest?
It's
Opposite of the smallest side. So we're looking for angle B. So the largest angle is across from the largest side. The smallest angle is across from the smallest side. Okay, do we have pairs, SAS, triple S? Triple S. So this is the cos of B equals a fraction. Now, when you look at your formula sheet, the most important thing is that you subtract the 6 squared there. Okay, I always fill that in first. Now the 7 and the 8 can go in the front. So 7 squared plus 8 squared divided by 2 times 7 times 8. Okay, so on my formula, when I'm doing that one, I write that one in first, just to make sure I've subtracted the opposite side. Okay, when we're doing this one in our calculator, brackets, so that'll be important. If you don't do brackets, it messes up all the order of your operations. So make sure you say this whole top piece divided by this whole bottom piece. And then this is an angle. So you're going to have to cos inverse it, right? To get the actual angle. So let's see if we can match. Okay, let's do an ambiguous. Okay, so here's what I'm going to give you. An angle of 34 degrees. Calling it angle A. I'm going to give you a side B of 8. Then I'm going to give you a side length A of 6. So how does 6 fit into this triangle? Do you remember this? If this is 8, 6 is there. It will hit once, twice. There's 2 possible triangles I could have. Okay. So here's my thinking. I'm going to go 6, 8, and what? That's the third side. I'm going to figure that out. And the other triangle is 6, 8, and what? That's what my goal is to get. 6, 8, and the third side. Do you notice how I'm not dealing with this triangle? Because that's 6, 6, and what? I don't want that triangle. Okay, so I'm going to pair this up. So 6 over sine 34. 6 over sine 34 equals 8 over sine B. Can you times, divide, inverse? Times, divide, inverse. You know what number is your times, divide, inverse? Okay, I got 48.2 degrees, or there could have been another angle. Do you remember how to figure out what the other angle could have been? Supplementary. The 180 of it. Okay, so you have to understand your calculator is not going to give you, hey, it could have been this or this. It could have been this acute or this obtuse. So 180 minus that. Okay, this is the angle across from 8. Can you think about across from the 8? Which one makes sense to go where? Looking obtuse and acute. Which one is the little one? Which one is the big angle? Do you know where to put the 2 angles? The 131 would be the obtuse option. Yep. And the 48 would be the acute option. Okay, maybe I'm going to color code these. The triangles are sometimes tricky to see here. So 8, 6, and what? So I need the top angle in that pink triangle. So I have this angle, and a 14.2 degrees. Then we have our other triangle, 6, 8, and what? So that would look like this. So what's the third angle in that green triangle? You have a 34 in this corner and a 48.2 in that corner. Okay, so I'm now going to have to solve for the sides. So here's my pairs. 6 over sine 34 equals C, and it's across from the 14.2. Then I will get that answer, just we'll write them both down. 6 over sine 34 is the green triangle here. 6 over sine 34. And the side is across from the 97.8. So you have two options for side lengths. Okay, and if you want, I'll just type this because we've had enough practice, I think. So 2.63 is the small option. And 10.63 is the long option. Okay, so this is the part that you have to remember on how to get started there, that angle B, there was two options for it. Okay, then we'll go back. So that concludes the trig first unit, by the way. That was the trig first unit stuff.